recorded.
Well, I would say welcome everybody, and welcome Rotary World, Rotary family, Rotary creative people. This is an absolutely outstanding opportunity of our coming together. And then some of the information was sent out. It is the unique Rotary leadership opportunity for Peace on Earth 2030. And we're going to be going through what this means. But just think about, my name's David Wick. I'm a past president of Rotary E Club of World Peace. And fundamentally, in so many ways, Rotary is about peace through all the different services and all the activities that we all do and that we're committed to. And this opportunity is to really have an influence in the world significantly through our Rotary Fellowship, through our Rotary Network, to take a step forward and to learn more about this, about the Peace through 2030. I'm delighted that we've had a strong response to our invitations, and you'll be learning. There's an opportunity not only to learn from each other, but to establish more relationships across the Rotary world. We've got people from various places in the world. So this is wonderful. And I'd like to go ahead and introduce Tezekiah Gabriel, who's also a member of the Rotary E Club of World Peace. And Tezekiah, hello.
Hello. We're just so honored and delighted to be here with all of you. Thank you for answering the call. I have 2 minutes, and each of us will have 2 minutes, the organizing team, to talk about what attracted them to Rotary and why they wish to bring this to you today. So I first learned about the Peace on Earth by 2030 when I was attending a global conference of high-level peace builders. And I heard that this little rumbling about David Gershon and the Peace on Earth by 2030. And there was excitement about this initiative. And so I first just felt a calling to be a part of it that was quite strong. And so I actually found David in the crowd and said that Pathways to Peace needed to be a part of this global initiative. And I'm the executive director of Pathways to Peace. And so as a peace builder my entire life, I have worked tirelessly to bring peace to the planet. And as a result, after I said, please, we need to be a part of this, David answered, of course, we can't go forward without Pathways to Peace. And then I looked deeper into Peace on Earth by 2030, and I got very excited. And what excited me even more than the initial calling was the metrics. It had been beta tested, proven effective in many different countries. Now we're up to 14 countries and thousands of participants. And the structure, the systems, the organizations, global organizations that have chosen to come in as partners, it just resonated with me that this is the best option that I've witnessed in my entire peace building life to bring peace to our planet. And we have a goal of 2030. I know we can accomplish that goal. As a proud Rotarian, we have an opportunity to activate Peace on Earth. We have eradicated almost polio, and now this can be our next initiative. Imagine what can happen when we as Rotarians pick this up as our next global goal. So that's what I'd like to say in this moment about Peace on Earth by 2030 and the opportunity, if not Rotarians, then who could ever take on this initiative that has been beta tested and is, from my perspective, an incredible opportunity to activate Rotary's global peace strategy. And so with that, I'd like to turn the floor over to Jim Halderman. Jim? I know Jim is having a problem with.
He was struggling to get in a bit, so maybe
Okay.
he's not here immediately.
Then let us move to Kat Haber. Kat? We'll come back to Jim.
Moment. Hi, everyone. I am so delighted with seeing so many familiar and new faces. In 2014, I set out with a couple thousand people from the port of Los Angeles to walk across the country in the Great March for Climate Action, because I knew at that time climate was changing rapidly and it was affecting already the peace in the places that I was living. A mile and a half later, there were a few dozen of us remaining, but we did make it from LA to DC and ended up at the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission on November 4th, 2014, where I was the first of about 150 people to be arrested that week. Why do I bring that up? Because it was that same month that I started the We Rotary Club of International Peace, a virtual club. And the intention was that as I was walking across the country, taking action on climate, that I would also be embodying peace myself. And there were great lessons along the way. And what I can say is that this Peace on Earth game is a significant commitment of really deepening my personal journey on peace. And I am hopeful that it will radiate through the projects that we Rotary choose to take on this year. So with that, who, Tezekiah, would you like to have speak next?
Well, John, can we bring John into the conversation? I know John has been having some problem with technology as well.
All right.
Yes, but I'm in the meeting.
Good.
I'm in the meeting.
Good.
Oh, and
Please.
first, a shout out to the person who alerted me that David Gershon was doing. Actually, he didn't tell me about David Gershon. He told me about the Peace on Earth game. In an aside was Richard Denton. In an aside in a long thread of email buried in a paragraph where he made some reference to two things that he thought could help with peace. One was ending War 101, and the other one was there was some game. And as soon as I saw game, I immediately looked this up, and found out it was David Gershon, who I had speak to my Rotary Club, the Rotary Club of New York, back in 2005. He's come a long way since then. He's developed this thing very highly. It does work. Rotary absolutely needs to be a part of this, because this is the pillar on which we will stand, to do everything else that we do. And that's, I think, the ultimate statement. That if we want to do what we say we want to do, then we really have to get behind this. It'll be good for us. It'll be good for the world. And as I've said in my many email messages to my extensive email distribution lists, which anybody can be on, if you want to be on, email me, german63@hotmail.com. As I've said to them, this is the game that you want everybody else to play, even if you never play it. So that's the message for Rotary. Let's take it up. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I'm wondering if Jim is fully in. Jim Halderman? Are you with us? I saw he came into the room. I'm not sure he has sound. Jim, are you with us?
While we're waiting, may I ask John to repeat his email?
Okay, I think we'll move to Tammy Briggs. Tammy?
Thank you,
Okay,
Hezekiah.
Oh, Jim, are you here?
No, this is John German. I was trying to get unmuted. The request for my email address is my last name and my street, which I thought I could remember. It's German63@hotmail.com. GERMAN 63@hotmail.com. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And now we turn the floor over to our next organizing team member, Tammy Briggs.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tammy Briggs. I live in Minneapolis, and I'm a member of the Rotary E-Club of World Peace that's based in California. And I got interested in the E-Club of World Peace because Rotary, one of its 7 pillars is world peace. And so that was very attractive to me around being a Rotarian. And I have played the game. I finished the first part of October, and I played the Peace on Earth by 2030 game, and it's life-changing. It's very inspirational, and it's a lot of fun because you build community with the group that you are with for the 8 weeks of the game. And I've known David since probably the late 80s, and I'm a big fan of David Gershon and his dear wife. I believe that they are catalyst for converging world peace with a mission. And as Hezekiah said, the metrics also are very, it's important that we have the metrics because we can see how it's growing and the impact that it's having. And with Rotary and its structure, I think we have a really unique opportunity to weave the two organizations together, Rotary and Peace on Earth by 2030. So I would encourage everyone to play the game. It will start in January, and it will be great fun to be with kindred spirits, fellow Rotarians, literally around the world playing this amazing game. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tammy. And one more call in case Jim Halderman can speak.
Yes, and I apologize for computer challenges. I'm in my hotel room. I'm at this Zone Institute in San Diego. Beautiful outside, but the internet isn't strong. But anyway, having said that, I'm very excited to be part of this. I have to admit, I don't know much about the game yet, but I am very excited about the things that I've learned and studied about and feel about David. His passion, his marketing skills, and moving to the positive. He knows how to grab the heart. You move to the positive, you sell the good, and it's easy to sell the moving towards peace. He also understands that it begins with the heart, with the individual, and his skills and background and knowledge and what he has done as far as developing the person. I know that this is bound to be good. So I am very excited. And Rotary is right now scattered in many directions with a lot of different focuses. Maybe that's a good thing, but I would like to see something bring us together with a little more focus, and so that we can develop the synchronicity that's so valuable with all of the skills and talent that is on this call tonight. So what can we do to build the synchronicity of love and moving forward, building the self? David, we look forward to you being the guide.
Thank you, Jim. And so it's back to me, and I have the pleasure of introducing David Gershon. And so I decided to play the game, and I did play the game. And along with what Tammy said, it is life-changing. And it is about, as Jim said, or indicated, that it is about peace within that then gets played externally. And so, yes, I'm so very grateful for David Gershon and Peace on Earth by 2030. So David Gershon is the founder and architect of Peace on Earth by 2030, the movement, and the organizer of the first Earth Run. And some of us were around for that first Earth Run in the 80s. And actually, one of the reasons that David said, of course, that they would move forward with Pathways to Peace was that our beloved founder, Avon Madison, was on the organizing team for that Earth Run. And so David has the ability to create large global initiatives. So for those of us that remember the first Earth Run, David has built upon what worked in that Earth Run, and the game now and the Peace on Earth zones are based on the 7 strategies that ignited and enabled the world to come together to bring that torch of peace around the world in 1986. David will speak more about this, but we know that wherever that torch went, that peace on earth prevailed. And so with that, we now have the ability to take the next step. The time is right, and the torch has been rekindled, and an emerging grassroots movement is saying, yes, we can do this. Why not peace on earth? And why not now? And I say, and why not leadership by Rotary? This is our calling. So with that, I'd like David Gershon to take the floor. David?
Thank you, Tessakaya. Thank you, David, Jim, John, Tammy, all of those that have said yes to being part of this organizing team. Thank you for coming, spending your evening or wherever you are in the world with us. We may want to mute folks, Kat, and Kat, of course, so we don't have to hear background noise. That would be great. So it's a pleasure to be here. And I want to take you on a journey into a big idea, a very big idea. One of the big ideas that we think is ready to happen on the planet, an idea whose time has come. We call it a moonshot for humanity because nothing like this has ever been done before, and because there's no guarantee that we can get from here to there, but it is possible, I believe. The impossible is possible if we know how and if we show up. So I'm going to invite you to open your imagination, take a deep breath, and enter into a space of possibility. As Tessakaya was talking about, In 1986, we passed the torch of peace around the world. We engaged 62 countries, 45 leaders of those countries, including the major leaders of the world. And we engaged 1 billion people, 25 million on the ground. And what was most amazing was wherever the torch went, the leaders agreed if there was a war going on to stop fighting while the torch went through their country or their city. So for 86 days, the world was united as one. We had a first taste of the impossible. No one could have imagined that happening. This is the height of the Cold War being possible. Thousands and thousands of groups around the world worked together cooperatively to achieve this audacious goal, including the Rotary Club. They were a key partner way back when, along with Pathways to Peace and many other groups. We had very little to go with. We had no communication connectivity. There was no internet. There was certainly no email, and there was no faxes. There was just cables and letters and telephone calls. And we did it with just that because the world was ready. And the world is even more ready now. So what we're proposing is not a 3-month venture, but a 7-year plan and journey to make the impossible possible. As David and Tez and the other Rotary team members started to show up in our world, I became more and more excited that the Rotary Club, with its 46,000 clubs across 200 countries, could be a major force for good. Could be a major force for good. You already are, but this could be a game changer. So this evening really launches that conversation with the Rotary community. Our mantra is John Lennon. Some of you know the Imagine song. It's kind of our global anthem. And one of the lines that's always stood out for me was this one: imagine all the people living life in peace. Allow that vision into your hearts and your minds. And you may say, I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Part of the power of what we're doing is there are a lot of people who are these dreamers, who believe this is possible, if only shown how. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. That is our mission, poetically speaking. As Tessakaya said, this adventure is based on our key learnings, our key takeaways from the first Earth Run. 7 strategies emerged that allowed that to be successful, that allowed a torch of peace to get passed around the world, that engaged the leaders of the world and stopped wars wherever the torch went. It evolved into what we call the peace game, which is a peace intensive that you do over 9 weeks. And you go through taking these 7 actions, which I will unpack a little bit later. This is combined with our 4 decades worth of learning on how to do second order social change, again, which I'll share a little bit later. And the work we've done with many millions of people across the world to make these kinds of transformative changes in communities. We now have the global communication connectivity, the social networks, and our world is so ready and so hungry for something like this, which is why it's gotten so much traction. And now with the war in the Middle East, the war in Ukraine, we are in a teachable moment where peace is now on the tips of everyone's tongue, and people are really asking from a deep emotional place, can we make change? Is it possible? If ever we've had a teachable moment on the planet, it is now. So we with 40, actually we're now up to 48 partners, including the Rotary, are moving this forward, including other key members. We're partnered now with the United Nations Education and Science Group, UNESCO. We're partnered with the African Union, who are moving this through their 45 countries across Africa, 55 countries, excuse me. And there's 6,000 civil society organizations. We're partnered with many, many, many other organizations, some of which you'll know, some of which are well known in the peace movement. So we have a team. We can't do this without such a team. The idea is that people will play this game, learn the 7 practices, the 7 peace practices, apply it in their lives and their communities, and then evolve it into creating what we call peace on earth zones, where people are playing the game across entire communities and transforming those communities, helping evolve these communities from that which divides us to that which brings us together, and learning how to cooperate for the common good. So we're going to be building a new kind of community that can create all kinds of changes, but it's got to be built on a foundation that we think these 7 practices and have seen can demonstrate. We have peace on earth zones in Ghana. We have peace on earth zones in Kenya, South Africa, Morocco, Colorado, Kentucky, Kabul, Afghanistan, and probably another dozen or so in the works right now. Community by community over the 2020s, we want to witness something, which is the dawning of peace on earth by 2030. And the vision for humanity that has been prophesied, that we can create this 1,000 years of peace that has been told, is our birthright if we can step up and show that it's possible. We believe if you can show it's possible, the world will respond. So some of the results we've achieved, Kat has put in the chat, so I won't go through that. But we have been at this now for 5 years. Ultimately, we've been at this for 37 years, if we count when we started the Earth Run. But 5 years, we prototyped it, we've piloted it, we've demonstrated it across 13 countries. We've had almost 9 million people impacted so far, and we're ready to scale it. Let me talk a little bit about our theory of change, what gives me confidence and what gives others confidence that this can go where we aspire for it to go. So let me talk about this notion called second order change. This is a second order change peace initiative, global peace initiative. What does that mean? So this is a little on how to think about social change from a social system point of view. The world is a function of many social systems: economic, health, education, political. Those social systems now are deeply stressed. When they become deeply stressed, they start to oscillate, perturbate, and become unmoored from that which keeps them in place because they're not stable anymore, and break down into being marginally functional, dysfunctional. Poster child of that is our political system in Washington, D.C. in the US. But many of the other social systems are also facing similar kinds of stresses. When those systems become stressed, they not only break down because they're unmoored from that which keeps them in place, but they can also move to a higher level of performance and social value, which we call second order change. And I wrote a book called Social Change 2.0 on how to deploy second order change. So let me explain it a bit more. First order change is what currently is being deployed by the peace movement and all the other social change movements on the planet. Whatever they are, they tend to be first order change solutions, which is passing laws, command and control, financial incentives and disincentives, so paying someone to change or penalizing them if they don't. Awareness campaigns, telling someone what to do and hoping that if they knew the right thing, they would do it. And protest. And what we've learned is that those are designed at best for incremental change. And if they work at all, they tend to get modest types of change. The problems we're facing now are second order change problems. That is, they need deep and profound transformation. Passing a law is not going to get peace on earth. It won't get climate change resolved either by itself, or any of the other big issues. But what's left if you can't force someone to change, pay them to change, raise their awareness and hope that they know the right thing will get them to change, and protest? What's left is empowering people to want to change. What empowers people to want to change, the journey we've been on for 4 decades with our institute, is a compelling vision of the possible, peace on earth by 2030, and the tools and the means to enable it, the peace game and peace on earth zones. That is what we have found has been able to engage people because they're pulled by a vision of the possible. They are not motivated by fear or guilt or anger. They're motivated by a dream of the possible. Enter John Lennon and the imagined vision. Underneath this are 7 principles that we have cultivated that we see as the foundation of this second order change peace movement we are building. So let me walk you through those. The first one is that peace on earth requires the transformation of people's hearts and minds. We already have the ability to engage people's hearts and minds. If we can do that, we have a path forward. The second one is that peace on earth emerges from people and communities, and then political leaders follow. Again, we as civil society are the driver of that change, which gives us the necessary agency. We are not dependent on political leaders to somehow create peace on earth. That is not their job. That's not their calling. They have a political role to play. There is a role for first order change solutions, but that's not where this will emerge from. So we are both the source and the source of the solution, but also the source of the problem unless we transform ourselves. There's no one out there other than us. The third principle is that peace on earth is a learned competency of 7 peace practices that can be cultivated by individuals, which again, from an empowerment point of view, puts the locus of power within the individual, not some institution that we feel unable to move. And only way we tend to move them is to try to do the first order change of passing laws or incentives or awareness campaigns. So we ourselves have the locus of power as opposed to trying to get a top-down solution, which, by the way, is not at all inappropriate. It's just that's not where we're going to get the long-term solution from. The fourth one is that the peace game teaches these 7 peace practices in a playful way, so they engage people because it's fun. I mean, it is demanding, but it is fun also. And in a community setting to establish what we call new social norms, new practices for how we engage with one another. Based on our learning from the pilot and our demonstration phase, people are eager to learn these practices. You heard from several people who've played the game and apply them in their lives and communities. When you gamify something, it becomes more attractive and fun and inspires people to do the actions. And we change by watching others. We are social creatures. Number 5, peace on earth starts with the individual, but it doesn't end there. It comes to fruition when people in a community start practicing these enlightened ways of relating to one another. At this point, a community becomes a peace on earth zone. And what we found is that people are attracted to and proud to live in these communities. Everyone wants the experience of living in such a place if they knew it was possible. And it is rather straightforward. And it builds on our core empowerment model which is to shift from what isn't working and focusing on problems to focusing on a dream and our vision and how to get there. That's what gets people to move. We call it the shift from pathology to vision. The sixth principle is, as each community experiences the well-being of its residents and the community at large from a peace on earth zone, other communities are naturally attracted to these benefits. We now are across 13 provinces, believe it or not, in Afghanistan, where there is such a hunger for this, and it's being led by 15 and 16-year-old girls who can't go to school because the Taliban has banned them. But these peace and earth zones that we're creating in these educational settings are so compelling that they are getting diffused across the whole country. It's quite a remarkable story. At some point, if we connect further, I can share more of the details. Part of the opportunity is to help people see a possibility that they currently don't see. And when they experience the benefits, they want more of these benefits. And the last principle, the seventh principle, is that peace on earth is inevitable when enough people and communities experience the individual and community well-being offered by the peace game and the peace on earth zones. We have the power, we have the agency to create peace on earth by the end of this decade. And our core value proposition is that when this opportunity is presented, as it was, for example, to the African Union, they said, why can't Africa be the role model for the world and have the continent of Africa achieve peace on earth by 2030? And we are now building our partnership with them, the African Union ECOSOC, which is the civil society arm of the African Union, to achieve that. People hear about this, they're motivated, and they say, well, why not? So that's our vision, and that's the call to the Rotary community that we are making this evening. Why not Rotary? Why not Rotary be the global leader of all the institutions that could actually pull off this feat? You are organized, you are doers, you are in 200 countries, you are in thousands and thousands of communities. The tipping point is 10,000 communities. You have 4 times that many. So that's the invitation for us in the exploration for this evening. I'm going to share a video with you. Then there'll be some time for questions and comments. And then we will get into that question of what might Rotary do? What is possible for this community? And what might you bring to it through your club or your influence in this larger community? So with that said, I'm going to share a video to give you a deeper dive more into the game itself, and then we'll regroup around the how. 1 second here as I get this thing set up. So enjoy this video. It'll give you a good feel for what we're doing, and then we'll have some time to talk.
What if peace on Earth was actually possible?
40 million people is 1/2 of 1% of humanity. 1/2 of 1% is a tipping point when you start to tip consciousness. We're hoping to have 40 million people playing the game.
The game, the Peace on Earth game. Wow, it is a life changer. I had the honor of being the team leader. We were in the alpha pilot phase, so it was just the very first time the game was being tested and played.
I truly believe we're in one of the greatest time periods on our whole planet.
Time has come.
I'm so alive with this game, and I'm seeing relationships really shift. It really comes from the different actions.
It's about behavior change. It's demanding The game is not a walk in the park.
As soon as I was invited to be a player and then a team leader, and to find my own team leaders, I was just really loving all of the actions.
Peace on Earth by 2030 Game Team.
I believe that every human being deserves to live in peace.
Free of war, free of violence, free of hate.
I was deeply shifted by both being a team leader and by playing the game.
Help us move this Peace on Earth initiative forward.
What if it was not only possible, but could be achieved by 2030? We invite you to be one of the planet's dream keepers and accept this sacred fire as a torchbearer for our future as a species. We are building a movement of dream keepers, those who believe peace on Earth is possible and are committed to making it a reality.
Adds clarity and it adds credibility to our work that we're already doing.
Each week, my hope became deeper, my belief that something as abstract as peace could be possible, because all of us were doing these incredible actions together.
It can completely lift you up as a guide for this peace revelation, helping to evolve our planet.
Helping bring a really amazing renaissance of new thinking and change and hope for the planet. And we're right in the middle of being awake to that, and it's really happening.
We are part of a game.
Helping to create positive change on the planet.
We're bringing change, and that we're not going to stop until we do it, and it's super exciting.
This is actually how Peace on Earth works. One community at a time, one pose zone at a time. And the eternal flame idea, which came out of the experience of the Earth Run when we were passing the fire around the world, there were these eternal flames created, lots of them.
And during the first Earth Run, they carried the torch of peace around the planet, and there's so many stories and testimonials of how when people saw the flame, they were just in awe or brought into this mythical space of imagining peace on the planet already. And there's still a flame going at the site of Buddha's birthplace and multiple other eternal flames going around the planet from when the Earth Run happened. Everywhere that there's a Peace on Earth zone that happens, we're encouraging every zone to light an eternal flame somewhere in their region, their city, their town, or wherever they're claiming as their Peace on Earth zone.
But what we want to do is start to create eternal flames in all these communities. It's peace sanctuaries and pilgrimage sites.
Most of us in Afghanistan, we have lost our childhood, with shootings, with explosions. We are working to build peace. I am thinking of a world, I'm closing my eyes, imagining and visualizing, a world which everyone is happy, no more killings, where peace is everywhere. I believe that every human being, we are all equal, and I believe that every human being deserves a better life than this.
The peace game is getting done through the racial justice training, making it multiracial, and it goes across the country, goes across the world. Then there would be deep friendships developing. But now is the time. This is the time to embrace the shift that God has provided us.
So we've had a lot of excitement in our community, even youth that are playing, that this is giving them hope, hope to help with climate change, helping with curing hunger in our community, working on some big greenhouse projects here. We've worked really hard on creating a new website that just went live as well, too, where you can learn all about the game.
Watch Peace on Earth happen in 1 decade.
So the game works at 2 levels, behaviorally and consciousness-wise.
What if enough people playing a game could tip the world into this reality? These 7 actions are designed as a global game that will take place between 2020 and 2030.
Each player within each action participates on their growing edge, no further than they can go. However, they have to stretch. They have to get out of their comfort zone.
Everyone on our team had these beautiful miracles happening every day. The personal experience of playing the game is deeply moving, but then there's this collective experience within your 5 to 8 people that you're playing with, where you can come back and just see, oh my goodness, 5 to 8 people can truly start to shift a huge area around us. I think just the 8 people on our team made a huge wave of peace. The game is about collaboration on the most beautiful levels. Love is at the core of this game.
I feel such a higher frequency.
At this critical time, when we are becoming more and more divided, this game serves as deep medicine to heal that which separates us.
Of course I want to play the game. Of course I want to be a part of that. Of course I want to.
The end game is that you get initiated as a Dreamkeeper when you've done all 7 actions.
Our team is all over the world. The game offers an opportunity for every single human to awaken to the understanding that we are all prophets.
That is so beautiful.
The kids get it. I really believe that our little town here is a prototype of what's possible for our world.
I'm really glad that I played the game.
The frequency was raised again. This is peace on earth. This is what we're here for. This is what we came here to experience.
If you feel the call to be a team leader, know that you can handle it and you will have the support of your team.
Your life is the game. You just show up in your life in this other way. You're befriending the people that you might have just passed by on the street. What if it was actually possible? Peace on earth is possible by 2030, if you're willing to believe it.
I hope you'll join.
I'll carry the torch. Will you?
Okay. So, opportunity to have conversation. I'll carry the torch. Will you? Is the question. And so what questions might you have that I can respond to? What comments might you have that I can respond to? Please also just share any insights you're getting as you listen to this in the chat. But again, let's start with some questions. If anyone has anything that came about the how of it, or the vision, or the mechanics, or whatever it might be for you. Anybody? Leslie.
Thank you. Oh.
Please, you're muted, Leslie. You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Sorry, I'm eating my dinner. I heard several people say that playing this game changed their lives. And I'd be really curious, I am curious about in what ways your life has changed. So maybe a couple people could.
I think that would be great, Hezekiah and Tammy. I think you both made that statement. And if you want to share more about how that worked for you, and I can also share for you what I've seen beyond that for other people, but it would be great since we have 2 people who've played the game here to share.
Tammy, do you want to begin?
Sure, I can go. I think for me, I have been interested in world peace since 1982 when I came back from an international exchange experience. And when I played the game, it almost makes me weepy because it was so deep for me around really, for lack of a better word, fermenting what I really had been wanting and holding in my heart for all of those years. And when I played the game, you go through 7 frequencies, and each week the activities with those frequencies, you apply them to your own everyday life. And I saw relationships change. I saw my work opening up. I saw how I got clear on my purpose and what I really believe I'm here to do to help contribute to world peace. and it lit a fire under me. Our Rotary E-Club of World Peace is a wonderful playground of all kinds of speakers and activities. And by playing the game, now I'm starting to see how they're coalescing and what my role is in that. And I believe when we each can do that introspection and know what our role is, then that's how we all will contribute to world peace. So I'm very grateful to have played, and it's intense. It's a lot of inner work and outer work. So I hope that helps, Leslie.
Yeah, I mean, can I just add one thing, and then Tessakaya can share, and then you could see if that got you the answer you were looking for. But so what happens is you start showing up in a different way. And so someone came to speak, I think, at one of your Rotary meetings who's the head of volunteers for the Peace Corps. So Tammy reached out to this person and said, you need to know about the Peace on Earth by 2030 game and the movement. And the next thing I know, I'm getting a call from the head of the Peace Corps saying, can we explore how to partner? So that's Tammy in action, and what it looks like when you start to say yes to something. And we have a most interesting conversation going with all the Peace Corps volunteers that have come back from places around the world, as well as those around the world, how the game can actually help them practice their aspiration of being a committed federal agency and movement for peace on our planet. Anyway, thank you, Tammy, for that. It's making good progress. I'll keep you posted. So Tessakaya, maybe you can share your thoughts.
Just a couple of thoughts. Tammy was so eloquent, and there's a lot of people with hands up. And so for me, David said repeatedly, your life is the game and the game is your life. And so for me, it was because it is a commitment. And so it was about bringing greater intention to my work and my life that is dedicated to peace. And putting that intention into actions around those 7 actions. And so it was carving out the time and space to increase my own awareness of peace and action, and creating and activating those intentions in my own life, which deepened my own awareness and deepened my commitment to act out of the peace that I hold. And so there's so much more I could say, but I'm going to stop there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did that take care of it, Leslie?
Yeah. Yeah. I just really wanted to hear some personal, stories or anecdotes to bring it home. I know how powerful games can be.
Yes.
For learning. So thank you.
Yes. And I'm also a member of the E-Club of World Peace. So we are a committed body of Rotary, as probably many, if not most of you are. So thank you.
There's more that I can say about the specifics of the actions, but let us move forward. And if that's appropriate, I can drill down on literally how each of the actions works. But maybe we can go to someone else. I don't know who had their hand up first. I think, let me just look at people here. I think I saw Quanta.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. I love the inclusion of the concept of oneness. It's really wonderful, and it is very important. And also, I was wondering, since there are 8 billion brothers and sisters on Earth, I call them planetary companions. So how in 7 years do we envision having a peace that includes everyone, considering the circumstances, variety of circumstances around the world, wars and poverty? So how do you think that those challenges will be met in 7 years with this game? Or is it just another way we try to, we meaning those of us that are comfortable in the developed world, sort of feel good about doing something, and but not really making it a realization for everyone on earth? Thank you very much.
That is a great question. And I would just invite Kat to take the spotlight off Tessakaya, if you're there, Kat, so we can just have the whole meeting scene here. Thank you. Well, we're getting there. So this is the plan. Right now, we are building out in our Peace on Earth by 2030 game, the next version of the online game. That starts in January. We hope to have a couple of hundred people play in January. We have 100 people coming from just one community in Louisville, Kentucky, because they're so excited to be part of this and create a Peace on Earth zone. We're getting this moved across Africa. We're partnered, as I mentioned earlier, with the African Union. So they're looking to really move this out through their 6,000 civil society organizations and their relations with the leaders of the different countries, to give you a sense of some of the scope of what we're trying to do. Everyone who plays the game is invited to create 2 more teams. We call it Peace 1, 2, 3. If everyone who plays the game creates 2 more teams, you begin to see an exponential growth process. We're building a model to begin to get Peace on Earth zones funded, such that they can start up and go through a 3-step process. So that's another 1, 2, 3. A startup of getting approximately 10 teams of 5 to 8 people. That's 50 to 80 people. That then grows into 10 times that, or 10x, to 500. Again, 1, 2, 3, and then grows into 5,000, 1, 2, 3. Our vision is 10,000 communities. So we have a very clear linear change model for a nonlinear change process. If the Rotary Club, for example, said yes, we will make this part of our Rotary Club. You have something like 20, 30, 40,000 communities. I don't know how many communities you actually are in, but you have 46,000 clubs. If other organizations, we're working now, beginning to work with churches, we're beginning to work with many different types of institutions, businesses. Any number of institutions say yes, it can go very quickly. So we are very serious about our intention to get to these numbers. 50 million people is where you get to through that model. 40 million, according to the Wisdom Keepers, is the tipping point for what's called, got different names for it, but the 100th monkey effect, where ideas start to spread on their own momentum. Some call that a morphogenetic field. There's different names for it. So things start to have a lot of momentum when you start to build that out. Can one predict where one will be in 7 years based on where we are now? Very difficult. Do we have a strategy? Do we have a way to measure it? Do we have a budget to move it forward? Do we have partners? Yes. Will we get there? Yes, if enough people say yes. So it's really on all of us to say, I'm willing, and kick the tires. Does this really hold water? If it does, be part of it. If it doesn't, help us make it better. So that would be my answer for now.
Jamaica?
Yes. I think Jamaica has her hand up and maybe is the next person to speak. If you're there, Jamaica.
Hi, I'm Andrea, Treasurer Andrea from the Rotary Club of Kingston East and Port Royal from Jamaica. Thank you for this event. I'm more thinking of meeting structure. Is this supposed to be dynamic? Is there a specific model that you're seeking that we roll out in our clubs? How do you see it connecting with the traditional meeting agenda? How do you see it? Yeah.
So first of all, I love that we've gone from can we get to Peace on Earth to how do we organize it for the structure of a meeting. So it's good that we're covering the full range here. So the way it works is that you meet, if you're doing the online version of the game, you do it as an individual with 2 other members of your club so that you have the experience of the game. Then you bring it back to your club and your community. And then you start to play it outside of the context of the Rotary meetings. You meet for 2 hours with your team following a structure. We have a very well developed structure of how to run the meetings and how to move through the actions and how to get the support system. You use an app. The game is on an app, so you follow the structure of the app, which we built out over these last 5 years. And there are 3 levels of play. Again, it's a game, so there's a silver level of play, a gold level of play, and a bronze level of play. You use your team as a support system to keep you motivated and to give you ideas and help you actually implement some of the actions. Sometimes you'll do some of the actions collectively as a team. When you've completed the game, then you're encouraged to, as each mentioned earlier, to create 2 more teams, but you're also starting to look at what you can do with this kind of knowledge, of which there are many things, to start tackling some of the other issues that are going on in your community. And if you are so inspired to create a Peace on Earth zone, then you start to grow the numbers so that you can start to tackle the issues of importance in that community. But the foundation is building these competencies. So if you had a team, if you had a club of say 50 people or whatever, you would just encourage them to all play the game and then start to move forward, and it will emerge how it will emerge in terms of the impact and the areas of focus. That's the process.
Thank you. I just one more thing. I would love it if what you just said is documented and shared with us. I wasn't making notes. I was more listening.
Yes. I mean, I can point. Well, and maybe Kat, you can put in the chat the website, peace2030.earth. And if you go to the About section, there's a lot of information about the game in some detail there. So, and then I'll also have my email in the chat so that if you want to reach out, we can have a conversation. Because right now we're looking to get many, many different Rotary clubs to participate in the game in January, the online version of the game, which is much easier to play because you just come with a group of 3 and then it's facilitated for you before you go back into your community. So that would be my encouragement for the next step, is to participate in the online game in January. And then that's where you get your basic training and your basic knowledge and your basic experience, which you then bring back to your club on the ground. And then you do the model that I shared before. So that's where I'd encourage you to go.
Thank you. What's your email address?
I'll put it in, but I'll give it to you now, but I can put it in the chat also. It's
Sure.
D as in David Gershon, GERSHON, at empowermentinstitute.net. If I have a moment at the end, I'll also put it in the chat to make sure you get it right.
Okay, thanks a million.
You're welcome. Thank you. Jeff, hi.
David, what a pleasure to be on this call. Thank you. I have so many things to say and ask. I'll be brief. First of all, I'm very excited that David Wick has asked me to be on his team. So January, we begin. But I want to begin before January. So if there's any way that I can support you and your institute, I would love to talk to you. I'm curious about, I've been playing and teaching Buckminster Fuller's World Game for years. And so I love that you gamified this. And I'm wondering, have you ever, in your connection with the Peace Corps, are you familiar with the returning Peace Corps volunteers?
I'm very much familiar. That's the group that they want to hook us up with, and we're now beginning that conversation. Are you part of that, perchance?
I am a very big supporter of watercharity.org, and my friend who started it he was in the Peace Corps, and he partnered with the returning Peace Corps volunteers to provide water around the world. They're now doing it instead of well by well, they're doing it country by country. So I'm going to invite him to come play the game with us.
Oh, great.
Anyway, that's one. And then the other is, are you familiar with Jane McGonigal from the Institute for the Future?
I know Jane McGonigal's book. It's a great book. And I don't know her personally, but I think very highly of her work.
I think if we could tie this in with the institute, or the Institute for the Future in Palo Alto, this might be really interesting to scale this up very quickly. That's her expertise, is gamification. So all I'm saying is thank you. I'm very open to, if there's a way that I can support you. David has my contact information. I don't want to waste my time giving you all that now, but I appreciate being on the call.
You're welcome. And my email is in the chat. So just do send me an email. Let's organize a time to speak. And I do want to speak with, you, because you've got so many different elements, and I love what you're talking about vis-a-vis the gamification. I do know the Institute for the Future in Palo Alto. I've had some conversations, but let's see all the pieces and all the connection points.
I will reach out to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. So it looks like, is it Danielle?
Danielle.
Danielle, sorry. Hi, Danielle.
It's commonly pronounced wrong. The question, David, thank you. And the question that I ask you in part answered by giving some detail, but about the actions and how the actions work. I took down brief notes on the principles that you laid out. In that video, there looked to be a set of, and maybe those are the actions. Is it possible to put the actions in the chat, or to send it to all of us?
What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just
find it online on the website.
I'm going to share it with you now, the actions, and walk you through them very briefly, because they're so powerful and so straightforward, and it probably would be a good moment to do that. So let me take you the actions. At the end of the day, it's about these actions. So I'll share screen and walk you through the actions. So this is in the About section, by the way, just so you can get a better feel for the vision tells you this is a deeper dive into the vision, some videos on that. This is the game, how it works and why play, and then we're into the actions. And then underneath that is a deeper dive into each of the 7 actions explained by an exemplar, including Tessakaya. Let me walk you through the 7 actions. So anyway, all you have to do is go to the actions section in the About part of the website. So you have it in front of you. You can also take a screenshot if you wish. So these are the 7 actions that grew out of our experience of the first Earth Run. The first one is building a sense of agency, empowering ourselves as an agent of change. What we found is that when someone goes on a transformative journey like this, they need to have this core knowledge of empowerment. We've been doing empowerment work now for 4 decades, and we get people really prepared to go on the journey. And it works at a personal level and also a community and societal level. You also learn about these frequencies, which is the deeper essence of the game that Tammy referenced. And we do meditations on each of the 7 frequencies, and Tammy actually has played her beautiful harp with it. So those are some of the action elements under action 1. Then we move into oneness, and oneness is really a very simple and a very profound action. It is befriending those in your life who you would normally not connect with or would reject. Someone of a different political ideology or religion or ethnicity, or someone you pass on the street that you might reject, or someone who you had a relationship with and you no longer do anymore. And so you learn how to befriend the other, and we try to transform this foundational separation we have between us and the other. And it's quite profound and quite simple. And you play it on your, we call your growing edge, that place where you are wishing to grow beyond where you've been so far. It asks a lot of you. You get a lot back. You can play it at whatever level you want, but if you give yourself fully to it, then you start to transform many, many relationships in your life. The third action is on unity, and it's around finding that which we have in common with one another, celebrating that. So it's not what isn't what we, it's not what divides us, but what connects us. And when we start to do that, we find we have so much that we share with one another, so much common humanity. The fourth action is quite potent in that you are looking to increase your ability to cooperate with others around something for the common good. Rotarians do that a lot. This is really cultivating that at the next level. And you start to look around all the opportunities in your life where you can do that. And many, many amazing projects grow out of that. And sometimes teams cross-pollinate and cooperate, and they start to do amazing things in a community. Again, you're teaching these competencies, and they are very deep competencies. When we did the Earth Run, we shed light on all the self-help projects that were cooperating for the common and good, and gained very deep knowledge on that, 1,500 variations on the theme of cooperation. So we have deep knowledge on that competency or skill. The fifth one is supporting organizations creating peace on earth through your financial resources or your time. We call this action abundance. It's practicing generosity. Some of these are very natural for Rotarians. But as you imagine, it's not just the Rotary Club, but 10, 15, 20% of your community over time. So the Rotary Club's values are also very much integrated here. But it's practicing this generosity and this abundance and moving people from this scarcity of I can't or I don't or whatever it is that limits us. The sixth action is an interior action. It's praying for and visualizing peace. We call it love because it's the ultimate expression of love, love of humanity. And so each of these complements the other. And the seventh action we call faith, which is engaging others to play the game. At the end of the game, we're inviting everyone to start 2 more teams as a minimum. So those are the 7 actions. And if you want to know more about the specifics, we have people who've done each of them explaining how they took the action, what the particular experience was. They give examples of how that was for them. So that's a deeper dive for you. And you can go right here to have this available, plus my own sharing right now. So are there any other? If not, then let's take a moment to do a little visioning a la Rotary Club about what this could look like if the Rotary Club said yes. If you said yes, what would this look like if the Rotary Club decided this was going to become a core part, as David Wick said earlier, of its mission and its dharma, its purpose, beyond just the kind of external mission? What if the Rotary Club could be accountable and create peace on earth by the end of the decade? That's the vision we'd like you to kind of weigh in on. And how might that work? What might that look like? So we'd love to hear from some of you so we can kind of get the creative juices going now that you've asked some of your questions. If anyone has any thoughts on that question, we'd love to hear from you. Buddy. including some of my team members here who shared earlier, who do have definite ideas about this, but I'll let others share if they have anything they want to share first.
I'm happy, David, to share. This little guy right here is the reason I'm doing the peace game. And I just encourage all of us elders to be really clear about the individual humans that we are doing this for. For me, it opens my heart and it makes me double down on my commitment. And how would I structure this for our virtual We Rotary Club? We have a satellite club at 1 hour. 2 hours later, we have our We Rotary Club meeting. We have an hour gap in between the satellite and the regular Rotary members meeting. We could do a marathon of doing the Peace on Earth game in the middle section. That's all.
Thank you, Kat. And thank you for saying yes to build a Rotary Club committed to peace, and for recognizing the deeper why of why this is important. Anyone else feel called to share? This is a big question. Anyone else? I'm going to put one more version of the question into play and then see if Tessakai or Tammy or David Wick or John or anyone else. There's David. Okay, in a moment.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this also develops our skills, our abilities, our relationships. But think about so many of the programs, so many of the projects that we're involved in, and doing some really wonderful things in the community. But this moves it to learning about second order change. And this is something that really making the impact, making something that really lasts, rather than just, the more the first order, which are great in so many ways. But the world is in a state where we really have to have substantive, transformative impact. And this is an opportunity to learn and exercise what that means and how we can do that together. So that's a real important one that I see.
And David, let me ask you a question. I know we'll come back, bring David back for a minute. I know when you were inviting people in, you had a vision. And your vision was quite a profound vision. I know I was taken by it, which was you were inviting all the Rotary clubs to play the game, as in like 46,000 Rotary clubs. Tell me more about that vision and more about, maybe how that might work. What would allow that to move forward?
Well, the Rotary is founded on relationship and on service and genuine service. That's one of the things that is just so outstanding about Rotary. It really is truly service in so many different ways. And this is another way of just like, look at the state of the world. And we have the capacity, we have the reach throughout the world to really step into this and with a focus and a goal of peace in the global peace. And so we have that at our fingertips. And so let's do it.
I like that you're so straightforward about it. Yes, let's just do it. I mean, imagine if someone knocked on your door and said, for real, peace on earth, the dream of humanity, was possible. Absolutely 100% possible. All it requires is for you to show up, just you, and just go on this journey. Would you say yes, or would you not? And if you would say yes, why? If you would not say yes, why not? What is more important? I mean, that's the fundamental question. We are in this remarkably teachable moment when the world is really in deconstruction mode, and we have to construct the new. We can't just watch the world fall apart and do nothing. or try the things we've always tried and get the same results we've always gotten. So this is an invitation to say, yes, why not now, as Hezekiah said. Hezekiah, what about you? Tell us your vision.
From the very beginning, I felt that peace is possible and that we have the opportunity, given who we are as Rotarians, if we bring to it our collective will, that we can see peace by 2030. We have that commitment, that global peace strategy. We have the structure around the globe to make it happen. And so we here tonight can say yes, that we step into this opportunity to lead. I think given who we are as Rotarians, what we have demonstrated is possible when we have the collective will, that what could be more important than peace? So that's all I would add. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm putting in the chat how to register for the global online game if you wish to play. You need to have 2 other people to play with, or we can put you on a team. But this is how you register. And just go here and you can register for the January 17th event. And that is the beginning of the journey. If you want to get 2 more people from your club to come with you, or several more people from your club, in order to move into the Peace on Earth Zone mode, we want to have 3 groups of 3 from each community. So it doesn't only have to be Rotary, but we'd like to ground it in Rotary, if possible. So that's the opportunity for you. So thank you, Hezekiah, for that. Anyone else want to share their vision, their dream for what this could be for Rotary and for the world? But specifically Rotary, because this is a Rotary only meeting, really. We want to really see if Rotary can take it to the next level. We hope that it can, and we want to see if that's possible. And I'll add one more thing. Yeah.
I signed up for it right now, but there is another Quantadon, like I don't know who this person is. They have my name exactly the same way. So I want to make sure that that you don't think that there are 2 of them. Obviously somebody likes my name a lot, they copied it.
Good for you.
I'm being cloned. I'm so important.
Well, we have your email, so we will definitely make sure we get it to your email. And it is a great name, by the way. Is that a name that you were given, or is that a name that you just chose?
Yes, I chose that name. I'm originally from Istanbul, Turkey, and I was actually I've been here for about 52 years, and I changed it in 1995. Yeah.
And why that name? What called you to that name? Obviously, it's a
it's a long story.
Okay. Well, let's look forward to hearing more about the story. But thank you for saying yes and joining. And of course, if you know 2 other people from your Rotary Club, bring them along. So you could go as a.
Thank you.
That is funny.
I will.
Anyone else? Anything else, Hezekiah, we want to cover? It looks like John has his hand up. John, please. Did you want to speak, John? You're muted right now.
Am I unmuted?
Okay. Yes, you're speaking now. Yes, I see your hand up on your
One-
photo. I know you're in by phone too. Yeah.
Yes. One thing that may be on people's minds is the idea of peace is just the cessation of hostilities, the stopping of violence, stopping blowing things up, stopping killing people. Many of the people on this call may be familiar with Rotary's partnership with the Institute for Economics and Peace, that has a very strong program of positive peace. So be assured that this is about positive peace. It's not just about negative peace. Thank you.
Right, and I laid out the 7 principles, and yes, it'll actually will influence the negation of the bad, but clearly the focus is on building the new, building the capacity for a deep and lasting peace that transforms the world beyond just peace. Peace isn't the end game. It's just a milestone along the way of creating the new world we want to live in. Anyone else? And I think we can go back into the gallery view, Kat, so we can see everybody. I know we do enjoy seeing Quanta Dawn Light's picture because it's got such a great name. But is there anyone else?
David, the mystery is resolved. I gave the link to for them to attend, and a friend of mine came with the same link and had mine.
Well,
sorry.
That's funny, yeah. But now we have that solution. That would be quite a name to have everyone want to follow. Maybe that'll happen someday too, because you'll be seen as someone everyone wants to emulate. So let's then bring closure on our time. Tessakaya, do you want to offer any final thoughts and reflections before we close out our time?
I'm just so excited about the opportunity that's in front of us and the fact that you are all here. We are the leaders we've been waiting for to take this next, I'll use Quanta's name, this next quantum leap for humanity to bring peace on Earth. We can do it. We have everything we need here to go out to recruit others who are like-minded, knowing that our world is hungry for peace. And so thank you for being here, being the early adapters of this next chapter of Rotary's commitment to peace. We always believe that the right people are at the right table at the right time. And so it's you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will turn it over to my beloved colleague, David Wick.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to be together. And as is said so many times within Rotary, that Rotarians are people of action. Let's go. This is one. We can do this. And thank you, David, for your expertise, your experience, your brilliant moving forward, which we will all benefit from. Thank you.
You're most welcome. I will send out to all the people that registered this video, and it'll also go to all the people who did not come this evening. So know that this will be another resource for you aside from the website. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to all of you. And I'm so a fan of the Rotary Club and so happy to be partnered with you. So with that said, go in peace. And let's create peace on Earth. It is absolutely our destiny. Let's seize it. Bye.
Bye-bye.